Number 10, Vanessa. Okay, so one of the biggest theories that we have to talk about first, because it plays into other theories that I'm going to talk about, really involves Vanessa. Vanessa is the security guard that we see in Security Breach thus far. I mean, we haven't gotten the game yet, but in all the material about it, and who we also potentially get to play as for part of the game, or interact with if we're playing as Gregory. We've seemingly learned some things about Vanessa and where she came from through emails found in the AR mobile game Special Delivery. If we're right in connecting Vanessa to those emails, it also seems like she has two different personalities warring within herself, and many believe that one of them happens to be Vanny. Vanny is perhaps Vanessa's darker side, and we will learn through playing the game and encountering both Vanessa and Vanny that they are actually one and the same. Number 9, dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, usually is caused by severe trauma, and is often described as being a very complex disorder where you experience a disconnect between thoughts, feelings, and even actions. In the case of Vanny, this is likely what she suffers from to a degree. We don't know what has caused her DID, but we do know that it seems to have turned her into an accomplice of Williams. Is it possible that he shared with her information on the killings, and in so doing traumatized her to the point that she became a reluctant and later loyal follower of his, completely cut off from her own actions? Was that the trauma that created a split personality, or did she have the split personality before? And friends, before we move on to our next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists about more awesome Security Breach things that are coming, like Vanny, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8, similar but separate. Speaking of people thinking that Vanny is Vanessa and maybe a split persona of hers, it's also possible that the opposite is true. What if Vanny isn't Vanessa and they're actually separate people? What if the Ness that we read about in those Special Delivery emails is Vanny but isn't Vanessa? After all, some of the physical descriptions don't quite match up with what we've seen. Is it possible that there could be two Vanessas out there who are separate people? Is that too much of a coincidence? Could they be clones or perhaps identical twins with the same name? Most evidence has led us to believe that they are the same person, but it still hasn't been explicitly confirmed as fact yet. And it's possible all the breadcrumbs that we've been left with are actually perhaps a misdirect. After all, if we figured out the entire plot and story of the game and its characters before it released, would it be as fun to play? It makes more sense that the information we were given to make us think we know what's going on could actually just as easily be twisted in some way and used to surprise us. Do we even know if Security Breach takes place at the same time throughout? Is it possible that we could be seeing back in time to the 80s as well as forward to the current modern day era? What do you think? In that case, perhaps Vanessa or Vanny is actually a descendant of the other. Number 7, Mrs. Afton. This theory, the more it gets explored, seems to have less and less legs to stand on. Every time I come back to it, I'm like, it makes a little less sense. I would be surprised if there was even one leg left for this theory to hop around on at this point. And yet people are still holding out hope that Vanny could be Vanny Afton or Vanessa Afton and end up being somehow the love interest of William Afton and possibly mother of his children. This is a list of theories based on Vanny, and because they are just theories, it doesn't mean that they're all sound. So just to say that. The reason why a lot of people feel like this theory just doesn't make sense at this point is because people also theorize that Vanny is Vanessa, who we also see in Security Breach. There has been tons of evidence to support this, but if this does happen to be true, it really diminishes the likelihood of this theory being true that Vanny or Vanessa is Mrs. Afton, just based on what we've been led to believe Vanessa's age is via emails found in Special Delivery. That is, of course, if you assume that Ness from the Special Delivery emails is Vanessa and then that Vanessa is Vanny. So there's a lot of layers, but a lot of people are connecting those dots and then being like, that's what it is. Or sorry, you're looking at this backwards. Check mark. There we go. Number 6, a new Afton sibling has entered the chat. Another theory when it comes to who exactly Vanny is that she could be of the right age to be another child of William Afton's instead of being his wife or his lover. Of course, that is once again assuming that Vanny and Vanessa are one and the same, and the clues we have towards Vanessa's age also apply to Vanny. Some think that Vanny/Vanessa is choosing to help William Afton because she's been raised to be his accomplice. Being the daughter of William Afton would help us to make more sense of her motivation that she might have for helping him. Number 5, Elizabeth. Another really wild theory is that Vanny isn't a new daughter of William Afton, but is actually Elizabeth, an old daughter of William Afton's, who somehow survived being killed by Circus Baby, I suppose. Of course, considering that we've been led to believe that it was Elizabeth who possessed Circus Baby in the first place, being dead and then had her spirit freed later on at the end of Pizzeria Simulator in part by Mastermind Henry, this doesn't make a lot of sense. How could she have survived? Well, that's where this theory really falls flat because we don't really have a good and plausible explanation for that, yet anyways. The only thing that really would make sense to me is if we'd misunderstood the clues that have helped us come to the conclusions about that lore. Like, if Elizabeth actually maybe was never killed and it was a different, potentially nameless victim who in reality possessed Circus Baby and gave her sentience, and we were just led to believe it was Elizabeth, but really it wasn't. Granted, then that likely meant that both the fans and Michael were completely misled, either intentionally or as some kind of plot twist which was going to be revealed soon. Or, of course, unintentionally through miscommunication of the plot and lore. So we were never meant to think that, but that seems less likely to me, so I think if it is a misdirect, it's probably intentional. Number 4. Gregory. Many people have speculated that Vanny will be the antagonist of the game's security breach, possibly a split persona of Vanessa who is trying instead to help Gregory, whereas Vanny wants to catch up and possibly sacrifice him. Conflicting desires. While some think we'll be playing as Vanessa, at least partly, others think that Gregory will actually be the protagonist who has to run and hide and try to escape the clutches of Vanny and Glitchtrap. Perhaps Gregory is then the protagonist we play as, trying to survive, and Vanny is the main antagonist and villain that we are forced to face, sneak past, and eventually perhaps fight against. Number 3. Protagonist. On the other hand, what if Vanny is the protagonist and antagonist of the game? Hear me out. What if we play not necessarily as Gregory or even really Vanessa, though still kind of Vanessa if she and Vanny are one and the same person, as we fight to free ourselves from Williams/Glitchtrap's influence? Huh? That would make for a very interesting game, I think. Perhaps the footage we saw where we're running through the play area is actually Vanny attempting to chase Gregory through that area. Perhaps Vanny has to run as well from other animatronics who are programmed to go after anyone who is in the Pizzaplex after hours. After all, we still assume at this point I think that Vanny is a human, right? Maybe Vanny is the one that the name security breach actually refers to, and you are the one who's breaching it in an attempt to capture Gregory, all the while fighting to save him, fighting against yourself. So you're like, I'm gonna get him, but also stop. Don't do it. Number 2. Mind control. Why is Vanny even helping William? Why was she possibly described as being reluctant, the reluctant follower? It's more than likely that Glitchtrap somehow has taken hold of her mind and influenced her against her will. If the emails involving Ness and Special Delivery are Vanny, it would even appear that she's trying to fight back against this kind of influence. We see evidence of this through her search history mentioned there, with her looking at how to induce compliance in human subjects, and then immediately searching just the single word, help. Ooh. Number 1. Cult of Glitchtrap. And if Vanny is being mind controlled, influenced, or otherwise forced to comply somehow with Glitchtrap's wishes, is it possible that others might also be feeling or experiencing the same thing, both within or even without Fazbear Entertainment? Some have speculated that this isn't just a single person becoming somehow susceptible, it could actually be a whole cult that may have even existed long before William Afton became Glitchtrap, or even Springtrap. The people who are part of the cult, like Vanny, seem to be worshipping William or Glitchtrap somewhat. In Curse of Dreadbear, when we find and later interact with Vanny's mask, it seems as though she is communicating with Glitchtrap, or trying to at least, convincing him and herself that she is eager for what is coming, and even trying to impress her master. Cult-like behavior, which is what MatPat has theorized, may also imply that those who follow William can actually be saved by us, the player. Perhaps that will be our goal in Security Breach, not just to stop Vanny and Glitchtrap, but also to save Vanny as well.
And the 10 reluctant follower. Vanny is known as the Reluctant Follower, at least she was known as the Reluctant Follower at first, since the listing for the character on Voices.com was Reluctant Follower, as to not spoil anything. And we know this is a real role thanks to Scott leaving Jessica Tang a splendid review saying she was very professional and he hopes to work with her again. And going over one of her voice demo lines called Video Game Demo, Scared, Frightened, Afraid, Young, Female, Follower, Obedient, we can clearly tell that the voice is meant to be Vanny, since the line goes, I understand, I'll do just as you ask, and yes, I've already selected one. Which goes back to the conversation we see on ScottGames.com's source code between Vanny and Glitchtrap, the one I said at the beginning of the video, where he tells her to stay the course and asks if she's selected one. The one in this case is probably going to be Gregory, unless he's simply a means to an end. And at 9, tampering. Vanny has been tampering with the animatronics, uploading Glitchtrap's AI into them, but apparently missing Freddy, maybe skipping because he's the main man that everyone checks on. This is confirmed by emails and Special Delivery which talk about someone tampering with the animatronics. We don't know what virus she's uploading to these animatronics. It could very well be one that she made, but it could also be the main glitch trap virus that she herself is infected with. There are theories saying that she only messed with Roxanne and Monty and left Chica and Freddy out of it, which is interesting, but so far all we know is that she messed with some of the animatronics, and now they can't be controlled or even sometimes found. Since these emails came from Special Delivery, a game with out-of-control animatronics, it's easy to dismiss these as about those, but it makes even more sense for the emails to be about the animatronics we see in Security Breach. We shouldn't really even have access to these emails anyway, so why couldn't they be about something completely different? If you're enjoying this video, do me a favor and give this video a big ol' thumbs up so I don't have to upload my consciousness into your brain. You think that I'm an actual person? No, I'm a virus that's infiltrated these YouTube videos. Plus it lets me know what you want to see more of, so more likes means more FNAF. And at 8, theories. There are plenty of theories about the character of Vanny. Some think that she's a separate person. Some think that she has multiple personalities. Some think that she's a robot. Others have more sense. There are hundreds of Vanny theories all guessing different things, and any of them could be true. And multiple could be true at once. Vanny could have 2 versions, a suit version for Vanessa and a robot version Vanessa chases to make herself seem innocent. She could have multiple personalities, and she could end up splitting into 2 people in the game, since apparently anything goes in this series now, and many more. There is no way of telling what will happen, but it's interesting and fun to talk about, as long as people don't treat anything but there being theories as a fact. And it's 7, identity crisis. Speaking of theories, Vanessa is widely seen as the actual human version of Vanny. I mean human in the sense that we see her face and that she's actually, has a life, you know? The Vanny we know is just a servant, so in some ways a robot for William Afton, but not an actual robot, you know? Well, anyway, we seem to have a bit of an identity crisis on our hands, because she knows that she is possessed or controlled by William, as we can tell thanks to the emails from Security Breach once again, since Louis, the pretty creepy IT guy, asks why Ness, presumably Vanessa, searched for help by itself after looking things up that we know are William Afton based at the very least, if not him looking for them up through her. So we know she knows there is an issue. However, does she know what the issue is, or does she think that she's just losing time a lot? Only one way to find out. Wait for the game. And at 6, red eyes. When we see Vanny's jump scare in the reveal trailer and when we see her in the gameplay trailer, both jumping down the corridor and behind the staff sign, we see the mask has glowing red eyes. The confusing part is, how are her mask's eyes glowing red? There could be LEDs behind them, but that would make it really difficult to see out of. It could be an indication of being controlled by Glitch Trap, hell it probably is, but that still doesn't explain why it's happening. I guess perhaps since Glitch Trap is a virus she was infected with, he doesn't really need to use her eyes, or he could just be using the eyes of the suit. It could also be that this is just actually a robot version of Vanny that is chasing us with red eyes. But the movement is too realistic for even FNAF animatronics, so I'm probably going to keep that on the back burner. Let me know your theories down below, but she does have glowing red eyes. That's a fact, Jack. Halfway through number 5, plan. Vanny has a plan. We may not know it yet, but she has a plan and is currently acting on it. She needs Gregory for something, since she has selected one, but she also needs other things. The animatronics on her side, William wants us to bring him what he wants, but what is that thing? Is it us? Is it an animatronic body? Could the Stitch Wraith just be an animatronic building itself up so William can use it as a body? Is that what she needs to find, or will any animatronic endoskeleton work? The entirety of her plan is obscured to us, only letting us know hints as to what the grand plan to resurrect William Afton is. If that is even her true plan. She could be trying to eliminate him once and for all, but is doing so from the inside for all we know. And at 4, suit. The suit Vanny wears is very clearly a suit, meant to be in a similar style to the Glitch Trap suit, which suggests that William made it during one of his mind melds, where Vanessa went to sleep and he took over. The suit is patchy, with different materials and fabrics and sewn patches over certain places like the legs and arms. It's unknown if these are because of cuts or rips to the original suit, or if it's because they didn't have enough fabric to cover those sections. The stitching all over the body suggests that it is definitely a suit to be worn, but my thing is, if you're trying to catch Gregory, why dress in a creepy suit? Why not just make a, wait for it, normal mask and be a normal killer? I mean, like, I guess technically it's William. William Afton is a furry confirmed, okay? He could just be normal, but he chose to make a new suit. You're not even in your own body, dude. If you get caught, you don't go to prison. She does. Like, what? Why did you have to make another furry suit? William Afton is a furry confirmed. 100%. It's the only explanation. And at 3, fighting back. Vanessa, however, is fighting back against William's control. Not only does she try and search for help as indicated by FNAF AR emails, but she is also resisting his control to begin with, since he ends up searching for ways to induce compliance in human subjects. We learn about this also thanks to those FNAF AR emails. So there could be a happy ending to this game yet. William is losing control over Vanny, hence why he needs the animatronics, and hell, maybe as Vanny, he made a Vanny robot to control since he was losing his grip over Vanessa. Is this the way that Scott ends the game? Will Vanessa be successful in breaking free of William's grasp? Probably not, because it's Scott and he loves to make us cry. And scare the hell out of us. That too. And at 2, human masks. There is one particularly interesting email I saw from FNAF AR Special Delivery that was sent by none other than our IT stalker Louis and refers to Vanessa buying 3 realistic human male masks. Louis asks if they're for a screenplay, and unless that's a hint of what's going on with the FNAF movie, that's definitely wrong, my dude. The 3 masks could be put over animatronic robots was my first thought, kind of like a Michael skin suit situation, where it would be an endoskeleton but with realistic facial features and a thirst for blood. I don't really know what else 3 realistic male masks could be for. Like, honestly, like, do you have another explanation? Leaving them around to scare people, covering them with blood, and then leaving them around to scare people? Maybe it's to trick William into thinking she has Gregory? I honestly don't know why these masks were mentioned and nobody seems to be talking about them, so I had to bring it to your attention. Please help me figure out this one in the comments below. Maybe we can make like a community post about it or something and have a whole discussion based on it. Should we do that? Should we do like more like community posts about theories so we can collaboratively work on them, you know? I don't know, that sounds like a good idea to me. Would you want that? Let me know. Finally, and number 1, firsts. Vanny, assuming she is truly Vanessa, which the evidence seems to point to, is actually making way for everyone in the FNAF series, women and security guards alike. Vanessa is the first female night guard ever in the series. Thanks to the paychecks at the end of the other games, we know the characters in those are male, excluding FNAF VR since that's just redoing other games. In the first, it's Mike. Don't forget about Jeremy and Fitz. In Sister Location, we know we play as Michael, and FNAF 4, we probably play as the Crying Child, even though he isn't actually a security guard for anything other than his room. Vanessa is also the first night guard to have a face, a physical form that we get to see. Every other time in the series, we're the security guards, so we only assume that they look like us, since, you know, it's us, we're playing, it's normal. And Michael doesn't really count because that's 8-bit. And Vanny specifically is the first main antagonist that attacks the player to not have some form of robotic part. In FNAF 1 and 2, it was the animatronics. In FNAF 3, it was Springtrap, who isn't an animatronic since he was still alive, but he did have robot parts helping him move. In FNAF 4, it was the Nightmares, and in Sister Location, it was Baby. FNAF 6 had every animatronic, and the same with Ultimate Custom Night. Sure, Glitch Trap isn't an animatronic in FNAF VR, but he doesn't attack and jump scare us. Vanny, however, will. You go, girl! Make way for women in the FNAF series. I support it. What a queen. Ignoring the fact that she's gonna murder me. And at 10, suit. The suit that Vanny wears and the suit that she is known for is no doubt inspired by Afton and his love of the Bonnie animatronic. At this point, it's probably a little too much love, which I think would definitely have been the case if he didn't shove Jeremy inside of it in 1985. However, I think that it's pretty obvious that Springtrap, or even more so Glitch Trap, inspired Vanny's suit as soon as we saw that she had bunny ears in that one promo image from way back in the day. Or even when we first saw her head in FNAF VR's Curse of Dreadbear DLC. The suit Vanny wears is also very clearly a suit, made in a similar style to Glitch Trap's suit, which suggests that either William made it during one of his mind melds where Vanessa goes to sleep and he takes over. The suit is patchy with different materials and fabric sewn in square patches over certain places like legs and arms, and it's unknown if these are because of cuts or rips in the original suit or if it's because she just didn't have enough fabric to cover those sections, or maybe she thought it was creepier, I don't know. The stitching all over the body also suggests that it's definitely a suit to be worn by a person. But like, my thing is, if you're just trying to catch Gregory, why dress in a creepy suit? Like, why not just make like a normal mask and be a normal killer? I mean, like, I guess if William made it, and like if it is William, then he's a furry, confirmed. And a 9 works for Fazbear. Vanny, or at least her Vanessa half, if she truly is Vanessa, does in fact work for Fazbear Entertainment, as disclosed in FNAF AR's emails. Vanny has been tampering with the animatronics, uploading Glitch Trap's AI into them, but apparently she skipped Freddy. Like, maybe skipping him because he's like the main man that everyone checks on or something, I don't know. This is confirmed by the emails and special delivery, which talk about someone tampering with the animatronics. We don't know what virus she's uploading to these animatronics. It could very well be one that she made, but it could also just be like the main Glitch Trap virus that she herself is infected with. There are also theories saying that she only messed with Roxanne and Monty and left Chica and Freddy out of it, which is interesting, but according to the trailers recently, no, Chica still attacks you, so they definitely got the Chica. So far, all we know is that she messed with some of the animatronics, and now they can't be controlled or sometimes even found. Since these emails come from special delivery, a game with out-of-control animatronics, it's easy to dismiss these as about those ones, but it also makes even more sense to be about the animatronics we see in Security Breach, so it could just be both. And at 8, not an animatronic. Vanny does not seem to be an animatronic. Despite Glitch Trap possessing her, there is nothing animatronic-like about her movements. She moves like a normal person, and while there may be some hard to explain things, those things are explained away by saying it's because of William. Which you kinda need to accept at this point, because like, that shouldn't make sense already. Like, if you can suspend your disbelief enough to explain how sentient code was able to possess a human being, you're fine. You can easily have everything else explained by that singular, simple moment in the series. Just William possessed her, that's why. Her voice is glitching because William possessed her, that's why. Her eyes glow red because William possessed her. Yeah, you basically have everything else explained. Plus, you can kind of throw everything else out the window, because if we're going to accept that, then there's nothing that we can really complain about. However, I'm not accepting it, so I'm going to keep complaining, because that's my job, and I love what I do. And yes, I mean, complaining about Five Nights at Freddy's, not making YouTube videos, but the same thing applies to that. And it's 7, Reluctant. Given that Vanny was originally being referred to as the reluctant follower on Voices.com prior to her name being revealed in one poster, it's still an interesting title nonetheless, since the act of following typically refers to a choice, especially in this scenario. To be a follower is ultimately a choice, whether you make it intentionally or not, but being a reluctant follower of a serial killer shows me that you could back away, but won't. Perhaps because she doesn't want to fight off the influence entirely, who knows, maybe she has like a sicko side that William was able to unlock and now she doesn't need him to go on a killing spree. I don't know. Like me in these videos. Eventually, they will break me and I'll go insane. And then all of these videos will be used against me in court because maybe I'm joking about this a little too much at this point for it to really be considered a joke. And it's 6, the first. No, I don't mean the first as in like, I was the first. I have seen everything kind of way. No, I mean that Vanny and presumably Vanessa are making giant leaps forward, not only for women in the Fazbear universe, but for security guards in the Fazbear universe. Being the first non-animatronic character to attack the player, the first female to be a security guard, and the first security guard to have their face shown. These are some major steps in the FNAF world as we typically are playing as the security guard, so seeing their face would be kind of pointless. So we know that even if Vanny isn't Vanessa, although it seems like it is certainly the case, if they are in fact two different people, at least Vanny is a non-animatronic attacking the player and the first female villain, not including robots because they're actual robots and not their characters. One small step for Vanny, one giant leap for Killer Bunny kind. Or is it like FNAF kind? I feel like this is kind of impacting the whole universe as a whole, not just like other killer rabbits. Do you think that Vanny is a bunny or a rabbit? Let me know down below. Halfway through into number 5, Ness. Ness seems to be a nickname for Vanessa, who seems to be the name of the security guard we've been seeing in the merch and in the trailers. However, this Ness nickname seems to be the only connection in the game so far to connect these two characters. Being present in FNAF AR emails, the character known as Ness seems to be exhibiting behavior that would make sense for a character possessed by the sentient code form of a dead serial killer. Googling, according to the creepy HR rep Lewis, the migration pattern of bees and then how to induce compliance in human subjects. And at one point she just searched for help, which is certainly indicating that she knows what's going on to her and that she's blacking out and probably knows why. Could this Ness be Vanessa that becomes or poses as a security guard in Security Breach while also being the psychotic killer Vanny? Since it's something that the FNAF series would do, I don't know if that's really what's going on here. I don't know anymore. I have trust issues because of this series. And at 4, Resisting. Vanessa, however, is fighting back against William's control and resisting his influence. Not only does she try and search for help as indicated by the FNAF AR email, else, but she is also resisting his control to begin with, since he ends up searching for ways to induce human compliance. We learned that thanks to the FNAF AR emails again. So there could be a happy ending to this game yet. William is losing control over Vanny, hence why he needs the animatronics, and hell, maybe as Vanny he made a Vanny robot to take control since he was losing grip over Vanessa. It's FNAF, anything can happen at this point. Who knows the way that Scott wants this game to end? Will Vanessa be successful in breaking free of William's grasp, or will she die? She's probably gonna die. Just after redeeming herself too, because Scott loves to make us cry. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, the plan. Vanny has a plan. Like, we may not know exactly what it is yet, but she has a plan and she seems to be acting on it. She needs Gregory for something since she has selected one, but she also needs other things. The animatronics on her side. William wants us to bring him what he wants, or that could even be Montgomery Gator, but what is that thing? Is it us? Is it Gregory? Is it an animatronic body? Could the Stitch Wraith just be an animatronic building itself up so that William can use it as a body in this universe? Like, is that what she needs, like, to find out? Or like, what? Or will any animatronic endoskeleton do? The entirety of her plan basically is obscured to us, and especially with the recent trailers, they don't really expand on this plan. They just show us that it's supposed to be kind of scary. We only know that it seems to be that she's planning to resurrect William Afton, and if that is her true plan, she could be trying to maybe eliminate him once and for all. Kind of like doing like a double agent thing in her own head, which would kind of be insane. So I'm kind of expecting that now, Scott, so you better not disappoint. But ultimately, in number 2, human masks. This one is particularly interesting in an email I saw from FNAF AR Special Delivery again. This was sent by our IT stalker Lewis and refers to Vanessa buying 3 realistic human masks. Lewis asks if they're for a screenplay, and unless that's a hint to what's going on with the FNAF movie, that's definitely wrong, my guy. The 3 masks could be put over animatronic robots was my first thought, kind of like the Michael skinsuit situation, where it would be an endoskeleton but with realistic facial features and a thirst for blood. I don't really know what else 3 realistic male masks could be for. Like, honestly, do you have another explanation? Like leaving them around to scare people, covering them in blood, maybe to trick William into thinking that she has Gregory, or maybe the different sections of these masks can help reform Afton's face, so she's gonna put that on a robot. I don't know. I don't know why these masks were mentioned and nobody seems to really be talking about it, so again, I had to bring it to your attention. Please help me figure this one out in the comments if you can. Maybe we can make like a community post about it or something and have like a discussion. Finally, in number 1, out of control. But despite all she's doing to try and resist William's influence, she is still being controlled, at least partially, by William, making her dangerous and out of control. I mean, she's trying to kill a kid, for God's sake, who might even be a close relative of hers considering some of the trailer lines. So her being out of control certainly looks to be the main premise of the game. She may be reluctant, but she's hurting people from what it seems, including anyone who was in that security office when she shut all the cameras off, because I'm pretty sure she was the one who did that. The only question now is who will be able to save her, or is she going to be lost to us forever? How easy is it going to be to wipe out a load of sentient code possessing someone's brain when they shouldn't be able to possess a brain as code from the get-go? Because, well, like, a brain's not a computer. At some point, I'm going to have to believe anything this game throws at me though, because simple logic has been out the door since the doors opened up when you ran out of power. That's right, I managed to mention it again.